Okay. Well, welcome everybody. I think that it'll be okay if I do some video, just because we had that lag before. But keep me posted as to how the video, whether or not you're getting lag. So, welcome to class number 2 in our series here, week 1. Have a couple questions for everybody. Any feedback on the discussion? Any questions on the discussion thus far, or the assignment? We've had a couple submissions, and it appears that people are understanding the requirements. Some people wondered if they could, if they just edit the template in Microsoft Word. That's perfect. Adding to that. And then that sample in the assignment, it had both the assignment and the assessment attached together. And so in one section, I was able to separate those two, and I'll do that in the other section, so that the sample of the assignment is just the creative portion. And then that the other one will be just the sitemap. So, all right. All right. Well, I've got 2 screens here, and so I think maybe if there aren't any questions, I'll see. James has some questions for the assignment and assessment. Okay. Now as good a time as ever, James. Go ahead, and if you want, just turn on your microphone.
For the week 1 assignment and assessment of the creative brief and the sitemap and wireframe, I have my own version of it that I use to give to my clients. Is that permissible for me to use?
Yes, and if you'd like, go ahead and share it with us. If it's a something that would improve what's in the course, I think I'll forward that to the associate dean and see if she can add it.
And as far as Dreamweaver, that's for week 4 when we develop the website.
Yes, that's the tool that we've been asked to use, Dreamweaver.
Is it okay if I use one that I use Visual Studio to design and develop my websites? It's set up the same.
I understand, and I totally get that. Let me think about that for a second, just because
I can make it to where it'll open in Dreamweaver.
Let me just think for a second, because I'm wondering if the individuals who have, I'm thinking about the individuals who have Windows, they too would have Adobe Creative Cloud.
Or they could use Notepad++.
All right, so off the record, I would say go ahead and use that tool. Let's see. But if you can just do that and allow me to, because my responsibility is to teach using Dreamweaver. And obviously, Microsoft Visual Studio is a Windows-based application. And so, my job is to do that. There isn't any functionality per se in Dreamweaver that you can cover in Visual Studio. So, but that's all off the record. I have to teach Dreamweaver. So I don't, obviously HTML is HTML, HTML5 and CSS is going to come out of this. I wouldn't be able to know whether or not you use Microsoft Visual Studio. So, okay, is that a good enough answer?
Thank you.
Okay, and is that it for your questions?
That's it.
That's it, okay. Awesome, okay, so you're looking at my screen here, and jump right to the assessment. Tonight I'm going to try to go into student view. That way it'll look like what you see. Okay. So tonight we're going to be talking about this, what it is, a sitemap and a wireframe. And we're going to be going over the assessment here. So does anybody, what are some of your personal experiences? What is a sitemap? Does anybody, go ahead and give me your definitions that you currently understand what a sitemap is. Everybody type that into the chat. And if you don't know, just put a question mark, which is fine. If you're just guessing, go ahead and put your answer followed by a question mark. That way I know you're not too sure. So what is a sitemap? If you don't know the answer, just go ahead and put enter a question mark and hit enter. It's totally fine. I'll wait for everybody to put in their answer. Anyone else? Okay. So several answers. Okay. So when you think of map, you think of how to get somewhere. When you think of a regular map, how to get from point A to point B. That same concept refers to a sitemap. And a sitemap is how do you get from point A to point B on your website. Okay? How do you get from one web page to another, all of which are inside your website? Okay. And it's visual, so you can see it. And it's connected. Now, what comes to your mind? What are the ways to leave one web page and go to another? Can you give me some examples of what is it you do? And everybody can answer again. What is it you do on a web page that causes a different web page to come up? Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward question. You click on a link, navigation menu, hyperlink, yep, hyperlink. Buttons, possibly. Did you know that even an image can be a link? So the basic bottom line is the hyperlink. And the hyperlink in HTML techno terms, there's a different word for a hyperlink when you talk HTML, and that's kind of a tough question. If anybody knows it, kudos to you. It's an anchor tag in HTML jargon. So underneath the hood, what you're doing is you're activating what is called an anchor tag. Okay, so let's look real quick what an anchor tag looks like. Anchor tag HTML, and I'm going to go to W3 Schools right here, and there's an example of an anchor tag. So when you think of HTML, that hypertext markup language, we don't have to learn this right now. I'm just kind of giving you the what's going on underneath the hood here. Every time you click on a link that goes someplace else, you are clicking on an instruction like this in HTML. So here, by the way, I'm going to give you this link just in case you want to go there. So when you click on this little button right here, it also is a link. Have you ever noticed that down on the lower left, a browser will typically give you the name of your next location? Look down here in the lower left of my screen. When I mouse over that, can you see that? Does anybody know what that is? That's the location of where I'm going to go to once I click on this button. That's a URL. Everybody knows what URL stands for, Universal Resource Locator, Universal Resource Locator, URL. So that's giving me the next location. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this because it's going to bring up a little tutorial here just so you can understand how this all works. Just getting a little bit ahead. You don't need to worry about this for the assignment. This is really just kind of what's going on with us that's going to design our sitemap, okay? So this is HTML. We haven't even gone over that. We don't need to go over that just yet, but here's what it looks like. This is the code, and this is how it's rendered. By the way, this is kind of like a design view of your HTML code. And so this rendering in this area over here, this right section here, is what the browser's job is to do typically. Whenever you go to a website, even this website, for example, the browser is rendering what you see with all the text and the icons and the pictures. That's the job of the browser. And obviously I'm in Google Chrome. You might be in Safari or Mozilla Firefox. Again, the job of the browser is to interpret the codes, which are written in HTML, hypertext markup language, and also interpret the other cascading style sheet instructions and also JavaScript. So that would all be done by the browser, and it would be rendered like this. So anyways, the point I'm trying to make is that's a link. And it looks like when we mouse over, you see my mouse cursor change to a hand. And down there in the lower left, it gives me the URL. Any active link will automatically do that. So the sitemap, so I just want to give you that background. Back to our conversation here. The sitemap is what web pages are connected together and how do you navigate to those pages. So in other words, it is, and each of these lines in this picture here, each of the lines represents a hyperlink that exists on the upper page. So in other words, if we go to the web page called Home, you will find on that web page links to a different page called Products, Services, and About Us. So technically you would have 3 links on that page. Now, you can go even further. So once you come to the products page, you can then create links on that page and go deeper. And for what it's worth, there's no reason why you can't create a link that takes you back home on this page. Likewise, on the services page, another link, you'd have 2 links to go to other pages, and then a link possibly to go back home. Here, About Us, it doesn't have any child pages, but probably a link to go back home. Okay, so far, are there any questions? And on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 meaning I totally get what you're talking about. 1 means you lost me. Where are you at? Each of you go ahead and type in your number just so I can make sure I'm not going too fast. One to 5. 3 means there's some stuff that's kind of new to me, and you kind of, I'm not following completely. All right. And try to be as honest as you can, just so that I can taper what I'm saying. Okay, everybody go ahead and answer, put your number in. Now, I'm going to pause just for a second and be patient with me and Scotty too. Scotty, would you turn on your microphone, or are you open? Can you turn on your microphone? Because I would like to see where you're at on what we just talked about. Because obviously there's probably some other people who will have the same questions that you have. And if you're okay with it, I'd like to.
Wasn't
great. Okay.
Basically, my understanding is we're just going to be setting up like a diaphragm or whatever, like the picture shows, right? That's all we're doing, right?
Yes, but all you need to understand is that you're going to draw a picture of how your website has different web pages. So let me give you this example. So sometimes you can have a website that just has one web page on it, and you come to that website, you read what you want to read, and there's no more content than what's generated on that one website. That would be a one-page website. You understand that, correct?
Yeah, and if there's like a picture that has like a connection to it, it can take you to a different part of that website. So
yes, it's kind of like we would bring up, if I had several pieces of paper here, I could kind of give you that analogy here.
I understand that part of it, because it's like the home link, and on the home page, you'll have some links at the bottom that are kind of like, say, one says photography, one says drawings, and one says contact. And if you click on the photography, it takes you to another page that has a whole bunch of pictures that whoever designs the website has taken, and then some of those pictures could actually be set up to where they link to other information. So it's kind of like a rippling effect, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess another way to describe it, Scotty, would be like a tree. So
Yeah.
you have your trunk, which has your homepage.
Uh-huh.
And then out of that homepage branches all of your other pages.
Yep.
And then those pages can branch into other pages. And those are basically, like he was saying, you have your homepage, you have your products page, which would be one big branch. But under those products, you have sub pages or sub products that branch off even that main one. But in the end, they all still go back to that main trunk of the homepage.
Okay, I get it.
Does that make sense now?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
And that's exactly what he's wanting us to do with that sitemap.
Okay.
Is show you have your homepage, which is your trunk, and then how it's going to take from that homepage. You have just that information on that homepage, which could be like your welcome page. And then you have your products page, which will list. Your products page will be one big branch, but you have sub branches off of it that could explain those different products. But each one of those will have a page that has specific information for those products.
Okay, so then I am doing it correctly then.
Yeah, I mean, that's the easiest way I can think to describe it, is like a tree. You've got your main page, and then you branch off of those, and you can continue branching off those main branches until you get down to your basic bottom of what you have.
All right, cool.
Thank you very much, Sarah. That's awesome. I love it when I get some extra help from advanced students. So thank you for jumping in. I appreciate that. Just totally, that's awesome that you do that. Okay, now I'm going to ask if Ioannise could, is Ioannise still here? It looks like she may have dropped off. Yeah, I think she dropped off. Maybe her internet connection. Oh, it does say her internet is unstable. So we lost her. All right. I'm going to now what does D&D, your Skype mean? Okay, does everybody see a blank document on my screen right now? Okay, so I'm going to give you, it doesn't have this in the instructions, but I'll show you how you can do this in Microsoft Word, create a sitemap, okay? So this is Microsoft Word, and I created a new document here. And there are various tools that you can see here in Microsoft Word. The home page, you probably have used this product in APP 101. You can insert different things, and this is the one that I wanted to show to you just because it's pretty easy to do. So it's called Insert, and you might have a different version of Microsoft Word than I do, but it has the ability for you to create different diagram-like things, as you can see here, list of things, and then process and hierarchy and relationship and matrix and pyramid and picture. So of all these, which of them do you think would be a suitable choice to design a sitemap? Sarah thinks hierarchy. Okay. Everybody on board with that? So I'll click this first one here, and it immediately puts into a this mode where it says text there, but all I have to do is click on it and then change the text. So the one that's selected has the spaces around it. So what do you think we should put here? How about home? Oh, Scotty said he started building it in Word, but then he switched over to InDesign. That's actually a pretty good product to use because that's what it's for. InDesign it's exactly for web design. Now, why aren't I doing that? Well, I'm supposed to keep it real simple. InDesign is actually a whole nother product, and I'm supposed to only focus on Dreamweaver in this course. So I'm going to use tools I can here. All right, so we'll go back and forth. And the way I'm going back and forth, remember how I showed you how to do the different screens? I set up different screens. So I could go, and I'm doing this like control right arrow, control left arrow. So let's pretend like we're going to be creating our website. And let's say it's a personal portfolio website. I think I'm going to change this to landscape mode just because I think it'll turn out a little bit better. Oh, I think that's landscape is, I think, layout, orientation, landscape. Okay. Now, coming right off of here, I think that this one I'm just going to click on and delete for now. And let's go back to the assignment here. And see, use your notes created from the discussion, research, and your personal interview. The sitemap shows the flow of the navigation. The wireframe is the page schematic or screen blueprint of your site. Every web page listed in your sitemap will require its own wireframe, one wireframe per page. Now, I'm just curious. The assignment has us creating a personal portfolio, but has anybody else decided to do a website design and create a brief for something other than their personal portfolio? Go ahead and type in your answer there and tell me what you've decided. Yeah, that's good, James. Sarah wants to do a boutique. Box Elder Family Support Center. That's awesome. Okay, portfolio. All right, so back here, personal portfolio website. What might be some of the pages that we would want on our personal portfolio website? How about an about page? Now I'm going to just type one word, and what this represents is a whole web page. How about portfolio page? How about a contact page where they click on that? Can you think of anything else you might want? Blog, great idea. Yeah. About, so let's see, a resume could have a link to a downloadable resume. You could upload your resume to your website. Possibly you could add that as a link from the About page. Now, this would be, let's see, contact, blog. Now, what about the order? Let's click here to go move that. See, I use that arrow there. Move the contact out here. About, portfolio, blog, contact. Anything else? Okay, I'm going to delete that one. Now, this is good enough right there for the scope of the assignment. And so, you know, what you can do is just do a file save as, and that would be good enough for this portion of the assignment, sitemap. Okay? Anybody have any questions up to this point, or anybody have any concerns about being able to do that? You good? Okay. So that's, you know, a 5-page website is good enough for the scope of the this assignment here. Or Microsoft Word. Boy, be good if I was clear on what that was. Oh my. Well, I guess I can. I thought I was told specifically to use Dreamweaver, and so I didn't realize that that was there. So what's going on right now is I'm seeing that we've got other options here. If you want to do it in InDesign, let me I apologize. I was operating on the assumption I couldn't do that. Well, let's just move on. We'll come back to that in design. Obviously, you can see you can do that. And it didn't say Microsoft Word. So, all right. By the way, if you do, let me give you some more ideas about what you can add to this. And for example, let's say you had a section where, let's say, instead of just having your entire portfolio right there, you could have a jump page where you would then perhaps have logos on one page, posters perhaps, billboard designs, layouts, so you might want to consider breaking up your portfolio into the various areas rather than scrolling all the way down, watching everything that is all on one web page. See how I did that? I just, once you click the portfolio, then from there you can jump to another web page there where you show logos, different web page showing posters, billboards, magazine layouts, and so on. Okay. Now, before I finish this portion of our discussion, I wanted to ask a question. What other links might be on your website that don't link to web pages of your website, but might link elsewhere? Can anybody think of something else you might want to link to? Anybody think of anything? Social media links. Exactly. Yep, we could do external links. In fact, we could like add another category, web design. All right, so so this would be a little bit different because it wouldn't be a web page on your site. It would actually be a web page elsewhere. So, for example, you may have your portfolio uploaded to another portfolio site. Has anybody ever done that where they've uploaded their portfolio to some of the existing free portfolio sites, for example? So let's say you might have an online portfolio that's one of those where you just upload your portfolios to it. So this could be another portfolio site, for example. Another link could be LinkedIn. Does anybody else have a LinkedIn account? It could be another link. Possibly a Facebook page for your business. Possibly a Twitter account. Possibly a YouTube channel, you know, that you might be hosting content on. Yeah. Behance. I'm not sure of the proper pronunciation, but for example, portfolio sites such as Behance. You ever heard of that one? Online portfolios. Now, let's show you an example of Behance.net. It's where Adobe has provided their own hosting server, and they have filters here, and individuals, this is an online portfolio. So you would take this link right here and link to it. So that's what I'm talking about. Okay. And so that would be something you could link to. So again, these are not web pages. Let me see if I can. I don't think I can change the color for just this one. I can change color. Anyways, so these would not be considered web pages for your website. They are just links. They do represent content, but the content that's off-site. So these would be links that would be on your About page, for example. All right, well, let's save that. If there are no more questions about that. By the way, did I mention that everybody should have a backup system? I like using Dropbox. There's several out there. It automatically backs up all my files, or at least the ones that I save. Do you guys have backup systems? How do you back up your drive? How do you back up your work? That's really important for you to have some way of backing up, whether it be an automated way like Dropbox or OneDrive, flash drive, WCC. Yeah, Google Drive is also a backup system. it's automated. It's really good to put all your work in your, for example, have folders and then put all your work for all your classes in that so it's automatically backed up. All right. Yeah, it's really important for everybody to have a way for backing up. So we're good on sitemap? Everybody get what that is? Next, we'll begin talking about wireframes. A wireframe is what you would see a picture of what's layout. It's kind of like a layout of your page, and the layout could involve areas for images or text and links. If you ever wanted to see some examples of wireframes, you can just search. I'll show you what several examples. If you're ever interested in looking for examples, there's just lots of them out there. Even handwritten ones. Now we're not going to be handwriting our wireframe, but you can see just what it is a picture of the website as well as the navigation. So here it's different because you are, here's a good example right here. And you section off the design of your website. You put in words and links where the links will be, and then you section off areas. Wow. I didn't realize that vacuum guy could be here. Hold on one second. I gotta move into an office. I'm out, not in an office, and I don't want to be distracted by this. Well, that surprised me. The cleaner just left. Didn't even expect that. So the layout of your website would have a title with links, and links are typically across the top, because if you put links at the bottom without the top, then people have to scroll down the very bottom to navigate. Sometimes people put the links both at the top and the bottom, so that if the person has scrolled down, they'll be able to easily link to a next page. So it's not really redundant to have them in both places. In your website page design, you have to keep a couple things in mind. And one of the things in mind is that the people who are coming to your website will have different size displays. And what that means is, with more than half of individuals using their cell phones to surf the web and going to websites, what you have to do is figure out how to accommodate those individuals. So what happens to the content of your website? What happens to the content of your website? We have to probably move here. It might be time for us to take our break. So, yeah, I think it's time for us to take a break. The fellow cleaning the room is back, so I'm going to move into an office. So I'll keep the recording going, move into an office. So let's take a 10-minute break.